Our call the meeting to order. Everybody, please leave.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, today is a meeting of the New Hampshire Fish and Game Commission. It's Tuesday, September 17th. 1 o'clock p.m. We're at the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department, 11 Haven Drive in Concord. The public is entitled to attend all commission meetings, and when recognized by the chairman, the public may speak on any item on the agenda. The chairman reserves the right to limit public comments to the extent necessary for the orderly conduct of the meeting. One of the things that I do require, anybody getting up speaking, state your name and your position. Okay, moving on to item number 1, the approval of the August 20th, 24th commission minutes. Okay. Second. Those in favor to approve the August minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain, I was absent.
You abstain, okay. Number 2, consent agenda. The following items have been grouped together and noticed as consent agenda items to be expedite action on routine matters, which may or may not require public discussion. Commission members may remove certain items if further public input or discussion is deemed necessary. There will be a last minute action item that I'll be calling number 4. Item 2A, approval to accept a donation of $250 from the Dennis Fiorello for use by the department's Advanced Search and Rescue Team. 2B, approval to accept a donation of $100 from the park sticker in memory of Mark Lamouth for the use by the department's Advanced Search and Rescue Team. The third item,
I think Corey's gonna.
yeah, I think I'm going to hold off on that one for now.
Oh, pardon.
I'm hiding her.
Okay, you did a good job. I'm like, no, don't say it.
Motion to accept 2A and 2B.
The motion's been made to accept items 2A and 2B.
I'll second it.
Seconded. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Items 2A and 2B passed. Corey, would you like to discuss on item 3?
Sure, thank you very much, everybody. It's nice to see you all. Last month, you were down at the Discovery Center. I'm Corey Riley from the Great Bay National Estuarine Research Reserve, which is part of the Marine Division of Fish and Game. And I spoke a little bit last month about the Glen Cove project, and some of you were able to come out and see it. As a quick reminder, this is an area that New Hampshire Fish and Game purchased with partners in the early 2000s that had a life estate on it with several buildings. We are trying to renovate that into a public access site and also have some researcher housing and a garage. And so the long story is basically that we started this journey in 2020 with an award from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which Fish and Game provided cash match for. Then there was a second NOAA award in 2022, which our friends group, the Great Bay Stewards, provided cash match for. And it came before all of you last spring to accept that funding in before we started a contract to complete the work. Unfortunately, even with all of that money, the construction budget, escalated because of COVID when we started this in 2020. So our federal partner, NOAA, allowed us to come back for a third award, which we were successful in getting. And our Great Bay Stewards nonprofit friends group agreed to also provide the non-federal match for that, and so that donation is what is in front of you today. The reason it's a little bit time sensitive is we would like to get this on a GNC agenda relatively quickly because we have the contractor there on site, and if we're able to amend the contract, he will not have to demobilize, we will not have to go back out to bid, etc. In particular, one of the items that got stripped out of the last project was paving, and that's a little bit time sensitive too. We'd like to get it done before winter. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, the item 3 is approval to accept the donation of $97,041 from the Great Bay Stewards to provide the non-federal match for a supplement grant to complete the Glen Cove project. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Do I have a second? Discussion?
Ray, what was the amount? I'm sorry.
The amount was $97,041
It's right on your agenda.
on your sheet.
Eric, did you first? Did you make the motion?
second.
Thank you.
Here's a new sheet on paper,
Yeah.
so they've been updated with it.
It's on the new sheet.
Any other discussion?
I have a question.
Sure.
Corey, these additional costs, is there any change of scope? Or is this just simply that the previous scope is being exceeded by any contingencies that you have?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we put the first NOAA grant together, we had a list of tasks, which included like 5 basic things: fixing up the farmhouse, tearing down the buildings, doing all the site work and parking lot work, building this picnic pavilion, and then sort of moving a structure and building a garage. When we went out to bid for the first time, we had $1 million. The lowest bid came back at 3.3. So then we went for the second NOAA grant. You know, similar situation in our second bid process, but we were allowed to negotiate with that bidder to cut out items. So this is essentially to put back the items that we had to take out of the current contract when we negotiated the contract terms with them, which was basically finishing the site work and paving. The second item is building a garage, and the third item is to move a cottage from one piece of the property to another piece of the property. So those are basically the 3 things that this will cover. And the $97,000 is leveraging about $670,000 in federal funding.
Anybody else, any discussion? We have a motion.
We have a motion.
I'm sorry. Jumping ahead here. Any other discussion? Okay, those in favor to approve it, you say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against it? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Now, I've got a late item. We're calling number 4. It's an action item in request to the acceptance of a donation of an electric e-bike for the Fish and Game Law Enforcement Division, District 1. So see if that's listed picture. The value of this donation is $1,700. It's a Quiet Cat model Apex type e-bike, pedal assist. The donation item will be used to improve the efficiency and ability to access remote areas with a very small physical impact joined with extremely minimal noise pollution. The limited weight and manageable size of this bike will allow easy transport by lifting it into the bed of a truck. With ease, the bike size will not require the use of a ramp when loading and unloading it from a truck. This donation will be used while on proactive and reactive patrol enforcement laws and rules in District 1. This e-bike will come with all charging equipment that is needed as well. The donor of the equipment is an avid angler, hunter, and outdoorsman. He has purchased a second e-bike and is choosing to donate this bike to District 1 instead of trading it in. The bike is only 2 years old and is in excellent shape. So it's a used bike. Madam Chair, I make a motion to accept the quiet catalog. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion. Nobody's got any discussion?
Question, if you use bike, what's the battery life and how much to replace it?
It's saying the value is $1,700. I don't know your other answers. Colonel, you'll have to.
Yes.
jump
So-
in here.
I don't know the answer to how long they last, but I know that they have a good shelf life. And this one worked well. He didn't use it a whole lot. I think one of my officers checked in fishing one day and he had it with him. So a conversation kind of ensued as a result of that. And then the gentleman decided to buy a new one and he made the decision to donate it. He's been trying to donate it for months. I've been pushing back a bit because I'm afraid if I get one, I'll be buying 48 of them. Because I know my team. And so, but I didn't, this gentleman is persistent that this go to this officer. So I said, explain it to me why we need it, which they went to the 10th degree, I think. And here we are. So I don't anticipate putting any money into it. It's a pedal bike with a battery assist. I don't know if you've ever ridden them. They're pretty amazing. But they're also expensive to purchase. So we took it as a used bike, but it's in real good shape.
Anybody else have a question? Kevin, I actually have one.
Shoot.
Do we allow e-bikes out there?
We do.
On the-
So actually, they've loosened the restrictions on it. You don't even have to register them any longer. There was a certain wattage level, and anything above that had to be registered to be on the OHIV trail. They've taken that away, and the legislature has. So they're pretty much free to go wherever they want. And they have very low impact, both to the rider and to the environment, which is good things for both.
I just want to make sure that fishing game isn't out there with something we don't allow anybody else.
Oh, no, I wouldn't allow for that. No, these are, I don't know of any place up there they couldn't ride it, at this point, so they'd be able to go wherever they want.
Okay, any further discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Motion's been made, those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Get yourself an e-bike, Colonel.
That's great, thanks.
You look good on it. Informational item, financial statement. Kathy, Devontae.
Good afternoon. You may have noticed you did not receive an August financial statement in your packet. I have been extremely busy putting in our department's budget, which was due at 4 p.m. yesterday, and we succeeded in doing that. So hopefully I will have the August financial statement along with the September one pretty soon. You did, however, in your packet receive the trends and dedicated funds. Didn't know if anybody had a question on that report that I give out to you annually.
Anybody have any questions for Kathy? Not
All right.
seeing any, thank you.
Thank you.
Committee structures, legislative committee, Chairman Stoll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did have a meeting this morning prior to this meeting, and we reviewed several potential legislation. Each of you should have a packet in front of you of the potential legislation for the upcoming legislative season. First one that we're going to take up is the boat access. The state, if there's a decal, they want to have a decal for that. Not too much for involved in that at all. Then we went on to the guide apprenticeship. If you want to be a guide, you can buy a license, not go take the course and all that stuff, but you can get a license and be an apprentice with it. Again, law enforcement supports that. Seeing a lot of good in that. I'm skimming over these real quick because we got one of these that's going to take a little bit of time to discuss it. Then we get down to some housekeeping bills. Connecticut River Atlantic Sanitary Commission, that sunsetted, the Fed let that drop, so we're dropping it. Drop net, that outlet does basically remove, instead of brook trout, it's just gonna be trout. Fishery habitat fee, remove the amount, and put it in the rules. That's gonna be consistent with a wildlife habitat fee. Publish notice for biennial hearings, that's for needs to be two locations in the state. One, first of all, the hearing in Concord and Lancaster, but it needs to be in the newspaper with general statewide circulation, but the main emphasis there is now digital is big rather than newsprint. Shooting crippled injured waterfowl, that's to help support, allow that to happen in the salt water, and not inland, but on the ocean, be able to shoot under power, and recover the injured waterfowl. Then there was one dealing with major projects. Right now, if we have a project to do up to $50,000, we can do it without public works getting involved. And $500,000, I'm sorry, I got wrong zero there. This wants to increase it up to $1 million, so we don't have to incorporate public works. And there's only 3 agencies that do that. DRED, can't remember the other one. What is it?
National Guard.
National Guard, and National Guard is leading this endeavor, and so we're just kind of piggybacking on that, but it's a good thing to raise it up to $1 million. Marine habitat fee, establishing one of that to mirror and that's going to be similar to. Let me get that one. That's going to be similar to what?
Fisheries
What's that gonna be
habitat.
similar to, Marty?
Fisheries habitat is gonna, it's,
The other habitat, yeah.
yeah, fisheries and wildlife both have a habitat fee.
Yeah. In non-game account, there's a bill to allow the invested funds along with the interest to be invested back into the non-game account. Now we're going to get to the one that spends the most time, and it deals with repeat poaching offenders. This is an attempt that's been in front of the commission for quite some time. We've been discussing what we're going to do about it. These people, back in my day, they always said, oh, okay, how much is the fine? Oh, I don't know, $50, $100, $200. Oh, that's nothing, that's just the price of doing business. These people go out and do this sort of stuff, and the fine is nothing the way it's set up. So Commissioner Green has been after the commission to do something about this for over a year now. And he got with Colonel Jordan and established this legislation. I'm going to let Commissioner Green state what the two gentlemen did. Actually, there's a third gentleman involved. Who was that?
Major Walsh.
Oh, Major Walsh, I'm sorry. Could you explain to the commission what you folks did and what you come up with?
The first thing we looked at was, do we change the fines? The problem with that was changing the fines, yeah, it sounds pretty good. Until the colonel showed me a fine list. And on the fine list, I think I estimated we'd have to change 86 RSAs. Going into legislation under 86 RSAs, we'd probably be lucky if we had a fish and game department when they were done tearing them all apart. So the other approach that I think was more sensible was that we go after the restitution laws. We brought that down to 3. There were only 3 RSAs would be changed, and where it'll affect is the restitution. To give you some quick examples of it, under the original law, if you take a deer, unlawfully, that was $250. Under this legislation, that'll be $1,000 per animal. On a wild rabbit, hare, muskrat, gray squirrel, that was $10. Restitution now will be $50. Wild turkey, currently it's $200. It'll now be $500. Ruffed grouse, spruce grouse, pheasant, woodcock, ducks, or geese, they were at $15. They'll now be $50. Fisher, bobcat, and otter, and fox, used to be at $200. We want to make it $500 per animal. Beaver and mink and raccoon, current law called for $20. That will now move up to $250. The reason of doing that was to, one, instead of just coming out immediately and saying we want to punish the poacher, we understand that everybody can make a mistake. But the other thing too that came into play on this was, people sometimes look at fines like, hey, big deal, it's only a $10 fine. Well, now it's going to fall under restitution, to where if a person is convicted of a crime, we have put into this also under RSA 207-55, where the court had the option that they may charge the person restitution. We have changed that to where the court will charge restitution. In other words, we also want to make it, judges have a habit, they like to be the nice guy. Go in for a fine, and the judge likes to sit here and say, let me lower the fine for you. Well, under the restitution, they will not be able to do that. Now the judge can further note to say, it's out of my hands, this is what you're going to pay. The other thing where the restitution falls into is that we've added to this, by changing 2 other RSAs, this is not only applying to just deer, moose, bear. This is applying to all species that comes under fish and game. Freshwater, saltwater. We're going after poaching in all areas of it. You want to overfish for trout, you're going to be poaching. We felt it was a more reasonable approach to go on the restitution side. We also, on the combination of the 3 bills, we're taking the approach of, instead of just turning around and saying what my initial thing that I wanted was, go to jail. We know the legislature's not going to buy that. So it's going to start off as a deterrent. And what I want you to think about is your driver's license. Everybody, every legislator and senator understands on a driver's license with the legislation and rules on a driver's license. One of the things with Fish and Game is you could not go back more than 5 years. A driver's license, you could go back 7. We originally wanted to go back 10 years on Fish and Game, but we just felt legislation would not go along with that. So what these 3 bills are going to do is Fish and Game will be able to go back 7 years on any offenses. And it's set up also to where it becomes just like on your driver's license. Your first offense will be a violation. Your second offense, that's going to be a little sterner. Your third offense, you will be deemed habitual offender, just like on your driver's license. You slip up a 4th time, you're going to jail. So it gives the public the opportunity to understand it, that we're not just going out saying, hey, I want you to go to jail starting tomorrow. We want to use this as a deterrent, use it as a teaching aid, but if you want to continuously coach, yeah, you can end up in jail now. The other RSA that's falling into place is 21439, revocation of suspension of conviction. We've added in a section on that the executive director shall revoke or suspend the license of any person who has been found guilty in any court a third time within 7 years of the first finding of guilty of a violation of any such law or regulation for a period not less than 1 year, not more than 2 years from the date of such finding of the conviction. And then under RSA 21437, we've added in there, any person who has been found guilty in any court a third time of 3 separate big game violations, freshwater fishing violations, or a marine fisheries violation within 7 years of the first finding of guilty of a big game freshwater fishing and marine fisheries violation, shall be deemed a habitual offender and shall be guilty of a Class A misdemeanor, punishable of a fine not to exceed $2,000, and may face incarceration in the House of Correction for a period of 12 months. If these 3 bills go through, they are what we call effective 60 days after passage. Those 3 bills, I am very happy with. My goal out against poaching. I think it's a much easier approach to go at it without us running into getting up into legislation and having legislatures tack on their little bits that they like to do on 86 different RSAs. This is a reasonable approach, and I'm asking this commission to go in favor of all 3 RSAs.
Thank you.
But I wanted to explain it to the public so you understood that we did move ahead on doing something about poaching, with the goal of you could end up in jail.
The committee took a vote on that. It was unanimously supported by the committee to support all 3 bills. And at this time, I make a motion that the commission go on record as support of all 3 bills.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? I'm gonna let the lady go first.
I couldn't not speak up today, right? So
I didn't say it.
I just had a question on the 20755 restitution for illegal taking and possessing. The final section 4. Any person failing to make a damage assessment payment as ordered by the court shall be guilty of contempt, and such persons shall not be eligible to purchase any license issued by the Fish and Game Department until all assessments are paid in full. They would also lose their hunting privileges. So is this potentially going to not be clear? So should it be until all assessments are paid in full and license suspensions served?
Until licenses, until the fees are not paid in full, it says that,
And suspensions are served. Could somebody see that and say, no, this said it, as long as I paid my bill, I get my license back?
Colonel?
So there's 2 steps in that. That's a great question. The first step, if you fail to pay it as ordered by the court, now you're in court default.
Okay.
That warrants a suspension of not only your hunting license, but your driver's licenses.
Okay.
And that runs outside of the suspension for the offense. So what we do upstairs is we hold that suspension for the offense. We wait till the court default runs out. So if you go into court default and you stay there for a year or 2, because you wait till your license needs to be renewed, then you get over there and they deny you because you haven't paid your fines, and you go pay your fines, now we institute the license suspension for the offense. So it actually doubles the suspension time. Very effective.
And that's clear, there's no
That's very
additional
clear.
clarification.
Yeah, if it's ordered by the court. Anytime you order to pay a fine or restitution or anything by the court, you fail to do so by the date specified for the court. In the old days, they'd issue a warrant for your arrest, they no longer do that. They put you in default and take away all your privileges within the state. And the driver's license is the one that we get calls upstairs all the time of, how do I pay that, because I want to get it back. Now they'll pay their default fee to the court, they'll pay administrative fees at the Department of Motor Vehicle, they'll pay one upstairs for us, a $50 fee. They get their licenses back, and then we immediately take it again for the suspension of the offense. So it becomes a double punishment.
Thank you.
Another thing that I forgot to add into it that I know somebody will probably ask was the fact that this is built into where if you were to poach 3 deer, those restitution fees are per deer. So this isn't, well, hey, for $1,000, I'll go out and collect 3 deer. No, it's not. For each one, same with the fish. If you want to take 10 fish over your limit, then you pay 10 times that fee. That's what gets priced. Commissioner Hodgson.
So, 2 questions. What are the amounts of restitution for fresh water and marine fish?
Way to go by the fine, Rick, Kelly.
Yes, we go by that. That's already established in legislation now.
So you're not.
We didn't change that. We did not change that ordinance.
And then my second question is, looking at this document, which is 20755, in Roman 4, it says any person failing to make a damage assessment payment as ordered by the court, blah, blah, blah. So my question is, should that be, that damage assessment payment, Marty, and I'm going to direct this to you if that's okay, that is the restitution payment.
I'm trying to find that
Or
document.
permit.
Yes, it is,
So-
it is the restitution.
Is it directed to Fish and Game? Yes.
So up above though, in one of the previous sections, it refers to payment of restitution. So I'm just wondering, should it be called a restitution payment?
It should be, and that was probably copied exactly out of the statute.
Yeah, this
That
looks
was
like an
probably-
existing statute.
Yeah,
So I'm
that
just
was-
wondering when we're
We should
gonna.
change it.
Okay, so it would read, any person failing to make a restitution payment,
Correct.
so we know what we're talking about.
That's correct.
Okay.
And that was also done through, I'm just trying to read the other 2 RSAs really quickly, because on one of the other 2 RSAs, it also says that the restitution payment, when collected, will be coming to the Fish and Game account. It
That's
doesn't
already
go
established.
into the general fund.
Right,
This is coming to Fish and Game.
that's
And I
established.
think that's where you were,
Oh, he's looking, I know, I see where you are, and I.
I'm down here in Roman
Yep, I
4.
made note of it,
Just
so I'll correct
Just wants
that,
it.
I know.
or make that change, make that additional change, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We just took care of a different RSA, but
Yeah, what I'm talking about, the current RSA, right? It looks like we're just using different terms now.
yes.
So,
That's what the RSA says.
Right.
So then we need to make an amendment. I'll make a motion to,
Yeah, or they could just withdraw it back, rewrite this the way you want. You know, change it, or whichever's easy for you to write up on.
I can send out a modified and amended version, yeah, because this is the one I think you wanted to have voted on today, so that you can notify your legislators.
Yes, so if we make
Yeah.
any amendment to it today, I would like a copy of this,
You
like
bet, I'll get it out to you tomorrow first thing.
tomorrow.
but we should have a vote on an amendment so that we leave here today with it exactly the way that you
Okay,
want.
and make the motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to amend 20755, section 4, to read as Commissioner Hodgson proposed. Any person failing to make a restitution payment as ordered, yada yada.
You want me to put in yada yada?
Yep, as long as it's not for you.
Y-A-D-A-Y-A-D.
I'll write yada yada.
I think Marty knows how to be city update.
Section 4.
Y-A-D-A.
Yeah, IADA.
And you second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Chris, you'll second it. Discussion. So we take a vote on the first motion, correct?
Well, there's a motion on the floor from Eric that the commission go on record in supporting all three bills. That's seconded. So that's not a vote yet.
You have to approve the amendment.
If you consider that a friendly amendment, just vote on
All right, so let's take a vote on the amendment. We've had a vote and a second, correct?
Yes, Hodgson, Hodgson.
And any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now for the original motion.
it. Yeah.
All right.
Kevin, you're the first year hunter,
Yes.
and, some of our, zones are, they're one side of the highway or the other.
Right.
So on one side of the highway, you can shoot does, on the other side of the highway, you can't.
Right.
Right now, that first year hunter goes in and shoots a doe on the wrong side of the highway. What's the fine and penalties that hunter will have?
He loses license, he or she would lose their license for a year, unless we came into you in front and asked for a change in that. And they would be looking at a fine of $250, I believe, plus penalty assessment.
So, and they're paying one for a penalty right now?
$250 plus penalty. And then this would add $1,000 restitution for the animal.
But when you prosecute any violation, there's always negotiations and
Absolutely.
and discussions.
But this law takes that out. There will not be negotiations on
Right.
the
On the
restitution.
rest
You couldn't negotiate the restitution, but you could still negotiate the fine.
Right.
And the advantage to that would be that, frankly, the restitution goes back to the New Hampshire Fish and Game, the fine goes to the court.
So these first year hunters, like I'm suggesting, that make a simple mistake,
Yes.
are they negotiating no restitution with the judge usually, or are they paying restitution?
The judges have been reluctant to do restitution because of the word may. They have always felt that that's a civil action, that we should be suing them in civil court, if you could imagine that. And so they've been hesitant to issue that. I think if we get a law passed that says they shall, I think that's gonna change their attitudes at the court level. Now, how they adjust that, most courts are still looking at the prosecutor to tell them what is fair for the defendant, and then the judge decides whether that is fair or not fair. So an officer could bring someone in and say, Your Honor, he's, based on today's law, he would be paying $1,000 restitution for the animal that he took. Therefore, I would ask that the fine be placed on file for a period of 12 months, good behavior, and I have no doubt the judge would probably do that. His license suspension is negotiable as well. Plus, don't forget, the officers have the opportunity to not charge an offense. If they feel it's not appropriate and they've adjusted their behavior without charging, that's really what their goal is to change the behavior. So they can choose not to do that too. It's up that discretion. It's a pretty wide discretion we have.
But the way this bill is written, the judge would lose the discretion on restitution.
In my opinion, he would, yes. You may still have a judge, I mean, I've seen it,
Oh, yeah.
where a judge doesn't care, and he does what he wants, he or
Yeah.
she, but yes, it would limit their ability to do that, certainly. Having it say shall. would limit it.
I just caution the commission about the concept I'm happy with, but what this does is it creates a very high restitution value that hunters that are new hunters and anglers that are new to the sport may get caught up in this and have to pay a very heavy fine and quit the sport. And maybe this would be something that would start restitution on a second offense instead of a first offense.
My answer to that would be if you become a hunter or fisherman, you read the rules and you go by the rules. That's my feeling on it.
I move the question.
Okay, those in favor of the motion on the table is to, in favor of these three RSAs.
Amended.
As amendment, as amendment, as amended. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We're on our way to a voting vote.
And I'll get that out to y'all tomorrow.
Yes, because I do have the reps that I need to get that in there.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I want to thank the commission, by the way, for the amount of effort that went into this.
I think we should thank you. You championed this and were very vocal and drove this through. So
No, I wasn't vocal that much.
it's all relative.
Not any more than normal. Anything else on the legislation?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we took up a few rules, we took up, and you'll see this in your packet, FIS 60306, which deals with saltwater smelt, nothing more than a housekeeping issue. It makes it a little bit clearer, instead of just saying smelt, we're talking about saltwater smelt. And then we took up FIS 60324, which possession exceeding the daily limit. There's a couple housekeeping issues there too. One, it says the executive director and his designated agent, we put in there designated agent, and also District 6 chief, we took out the word chief, put in lieutenant, because now we're in the rank system in the conservation officer force, so it'll say District 6. Those are two just mainly housekeeping changes. Then we took a vote on FIS 40206, which is the release of fish. Again, it's kind of housekeeping. It kind of struck out all these different types of fish. And possess any species of live fish except as permitted in FIS 40208. Then the rest of them were all, no, the black bass dates were changed to make it more easily enforced, make enforcement of the black bass rules first rules. The rest of them were all just readoption of existing rules that are in there. It's FIS 40305, excuse me, FIS 403.13, FIS 405.06, and FIS 407.04. Again, those are all just being readopted as printed right now, and I'd make a motion to have the commission approve, excuse me, I'll leave the FIS as I get them. Yeah, please. Thank you. I'll make that motion.
I have a second on that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
One question. Are you gonna ask for a vote on the other legislative changes as well?
On what?
The boat access, are you gonna ask for a vote on the boat access?
No.
Okay. So I had one question on boat access, the language. But let's maybe conclude the FIS vote, and then if we can go back to that one, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, we'll call for the motion. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
If I may.
Yeah.
So the suggested additions under number 1, boat access, there's one section that adds the phrase "and may only be used." But may only feels That's a little different than most statutory construction in New Hampshire. It's usually either may or shall. And so I'm wondering if the intention is shall, let's strike may only and say shall. Or if it's may, let's just say may.
I think that language was taken from, one of our other statutes.
Okay.
And we just, but, I mean, I like the idea of shall instead of may, because I much prefer,
I just,
a
when
distinction.
I read may only, I ask myself, does that mean it's optional? And if I choose to do it, I can only do this?
Oh, we'll do that, right.
Or does it mean that I shall do this?
Right, right.
So that's my only suggestion on number one. I think
like
it's
that.
supposed to read shall do it, and
I
I
like
just
that.
suggest we change it to shall.
Can we make that a motion? Do we need one?
No.
I'm sorry, no, we don't. No,
Those,
it's up to the chairman, what to say.
these other ones we were gonna bring up next month, and
Okay.
there's no big gang for them right now, it's just for informational purposes.
All right, got it, thank you.
But there were committee members who wanted to be able to look into it. Anything else on the legislation?
No, it's not good.
Okay, moving on. Governance Committee, Commissioner Hodge. They didn't meet. Sustainability and Strategic Planning, Commissioner Hodge done.
All right, I'm handing out the committee's work product for the draft strategic plan. We met as a committee, and I want to thank the Colonel for joining us and the Director for asking him to join in that committee meeting. So what I'm handing out to you here is the changes that the committee made as a result of the input that we received from other commissioners and senior staff. So the way that you would read this is the text in black, of course, which is the goals part of the strategic plan, we've already adopted as a commission. The bullets in red, which are what we're calling success strategies, which are the action items that we would do to accomplish the goals, those are still in draft form. And everything that's underlined is what we changed as a result of all of your feedback. So there are, and you can find, I know it's all in red, but you can find changes. If you look on the left side of the document, there are little gray lines. That indicates where in the document changes have been made. So this is, I'm just using Microsoft Word and the track changes function. So as I said, we as a committee, there's been outreach to senior staff and all the other commissioners. We brought all the feedback back and have made the following changes. So I think as a committee, we feel like this is a nearly baked document. But we did want to come to you all and ask for your support to reach out to our new executive director and ask for her feedback on it before we finalize anything. I think the feeling is on the part of the committee that we're in this period where we're having an executive director depart who's had a lot of input into this, and we have somebody coming in who hasn't. During the interview process, we obviously explained to her where we were, described the process, but we haven't shared any of this with her. And we'd like to do that before we bring a final document for you all to adopt. But you know, I think otherwise we feel like our committee work is largely done. But for that piece of it, I think we're ready to present something to you all. So if there's any concern about that, perhaps share it, and if not, then we'll do that and have a final document for you all at the next meeting.
I'll make a motion that we share this document with the incoming executive director for feedback.
I'll second that motion. What's
No,
I'm not sure we need a motion.
I don't think we need a
Yeah,
motion for that, but
Public information at this
Yeah.
point.
Strike it.
strike the motions.
that? I have a problem.
Correct?
Well, that would be our task then, to do that and
Right.
bring you back the final document.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to commend Commissioner Hodgson for the work he's done. He has been trying to herd cats. Getting some of us commissioners to respond to him in a timely manner has been a daunting task on his account. And I'm one of the worst offenders of that operation. He has put in an awful lot of time, and I'll tell you, he's pretty good at this typing and all this stuff. But he gets into that technological stuff, and I'm way over my head. But I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with the amount of work that he does on this.
I couldn't agree more. I think I told him that yesterday. That's his thing.
Well, you're all busy, folks, you're all volunteers,
But yeah.
but thank you.
Strategic planning is not an easy one to take on.
So that concludes my report.
Any questions for him? Thank you, Chris. The next one, resource and infrastructure, Commissioner DeRosa.
We have not met, but I do plan on having a meeting in October if the commissioners don't hate me for trying to interrupt part of the hunting season.
Public engagement and education, Commissioner DeRosa.
I have still been unable to make a quorum, so hopefully with some new incoming commissioners, we will be able to make a quorum in October, and we need to get that done. I'm sure Tanya's sweating on this, so we're ready to get it done as soon as we get enough people.
Seacoast Committee report, Commissioner Tyrone.
The Department of Interior announced it's going to hold auctions of leases for offshore wind in the Gulf of Maine. These auctions will be held October 29th, 2024. The auction is going to be for 8 specific lease areas covering approximately 2 million acres in the Gulf of Maine.
Okay, thank you. Lakes Management Advisory Committees, I explained it to you.
No paperwork yet?
Not yet.
No. I guess you could call it that. New Hampshire Rivers Management Advisory Committee, Commissioner Hodgson.
They haven't met since our last meeting.
Okay, now I'm gonna put you on the spot. Your term on that expires this month. Do you wanna do it again?
Would you like me to?
I'd love you
Would
to.
anyone else like to do it?
That makes one more comfortable and I can get two for the one.
Sure.
Search Committee, Commissioner Hodgson.
Yes, thank you. Everybody should have seen the updates. The new executive director, Stephanie Simic, has been voted and approved. Her start date is the beginning of November. She is relocating from Washington State. So there will be no more activities required of the search committee at this point. There was a lot of work and a lot of effort put in by the committee to review all resumes. Every resume submitted was reviewed and discussed, and as well as the whole commission. So thank you to everyone for doing a really good job with that. One thing I'd like to just talk about before we wrap that up. When we started this process, we had to vote to create this committee. How do you want to handle it so that we maintain that we have a search committee?
I'm not.
Okay. It just stays.
The reason being because of commissioner change.
Yeah.
Directive change.
No.
I can't leave a committee in place. What I intend to do was, as soon as you were done, ask that you're done with our committee, and I was going to abolish the committee. And if we have to go into it again, please create a new committee.
So let me clarify my comment. I'm not expecting that the search committee with the current commissioner stay function. But what we did when we started was we had to have that special commission meeting and we voted to initiate that. So how do we make, my recommendation would be that we maintain a standing search committee that is inactivated when there's the need, and then the chair chooses the members like every committee.
So you sunset the committee is what you normally do, but it's totally you do what you want.
To do that, so you could take a
Which means
vote.
it's still,
If you voted to put the committee in place, you can either vote to take the committee out of place, or you can vote to take the committee and sunset.
My recommendation is to vote to sunset it, but we have to have the archive and know that we had a committee and that it was sunset. So I'm gonna make a motion to sunset the search committee and add an update to the commissioner policy manual to include that there is a search committee that will be reinitiated when needed. I think the only way to make sure that it stays is to put it in the policy manual under commissioner committees.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
I think that's a good idea because this new director isn't here yet. The process to get her here has been an extended. I would feel more comfortable as soon as she arrives here. Right now,
To sunset, yeah. That's a good one.
there is that possibility that something may come up that she doesn't make it here.
Yep.
I mean, she isn't here yet, I mean, so I think we need to keep this so that we can, just in case something goes back at it again.
And if for some reason that were to happen, then that's when the members of that committee can be changed if needed.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with that.
Okay, any more discussion?
I will withdraw my motion. Because my motion was to sunset the committee.
No.
Yeah.
I think I will draw my second.
I will make a new motion to add, go big or go home, right? So I will make a new motion to add to Commissioner policy, the Executive Director Search Committee under the committee structure for the commission. Commissioner Stoll seconded.
To put this in the handbook?
Yeah, as a,
Oh, that's good, because you're in charge of the handbook.
I'll get right on it.
Thank you. Okay, so that's been seconded by Commissioner Stoll.
Yes.
Any discussion? Okay, not seeing any. Those in favor of doing that, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Aye. You're killing me. You are killing me. I'm gonna take care of that in a minute.
I want to.
Any old business? I don't see any old business. Under new business, I have 2 items I'd like to take up, but I will open up to any commissioners under new business first. Okay, not seeing any.
I'll go after you.
Okay, the first item. About an hour and a half ago, I made the decision that effective immediately, Commissioner DeVos has been placed on the legislative committee. My reason being is, I don't know where the other guy is, so you get Commissioner DeVos.
Thank you.
My second item that I bring up has to go before the committee. Yeah, I know you're gonna hit me on this one. But is that under the fact that first, I can handle it, okay, and make it now. I'm gonna let you go with your first,
Okay, all right, thank you.
if it's what I think it is.
It's what you think it is. I think, the commission knows, I think most staff knows, this is my last commission meeting. I resigned from my position It will be effective September 24th. It's a very difficult decision and one that I don't take lightly. I actually had somebody ask me if I was resigning for nefarious reasons. And I think that's a bit sad that that's what they associate with the commission, but absolutely not. I think I'm one of very few commissioners here who have a normal 9 to 5 kind of job. I literally flew in this morning from Canada for work and raced to be here today. So it's a lot to balance. I also have a 9-year-old daughter, and I think I'm the only one on the commission with very young kids. So it becomes a very lot to manage and juggle. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I've made a lot of good connections. I think serves the constituents of Rockingham County very well. I'm not disappearing, I'm not hiding. My request to Dan and Diane, when you see me at hearings, I'm gonna need more than 3 minutes. Right? Like, you guys know me, so I'm not.
You can come back up at the end.
I will do that. So, thank you to everyone, thank you to the commission for supporting me in all of the efforts that we worked on together. My daughter's 9, right? 9 years, she goes to college. Maybe I'll be back. But thank you everyone, and I will miss you all. And I'm here, right? If you need feedback from a constituent, I always have feedback, so please reach out. Please reach out.
And I would like to commend you for all that you have done. And for that, I appreciate that, and I give you a good answer. I know as chairman, I have leaned on her quite a bit. And I know Commissioner Stoll leaned on her a lot also. It's not an easy job being vice chair. So, I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Now for my second item is this. This one you can be quiet on, if you can. With the resignation of Commissioner Hodgson on the 24th, one of the things that I want to close up is the fact that we have a vice chair in place on the 26th. My reason of that is it's very important because vice chair has to jump in if something happens to the chair. I think it's an important position. I don't want to wait 2 months or whatever to do it. I want to do it right away. So I had sent an email out to the commissioners. I asked to have them respond with either yes, they'd be interested, or no, they would not. I got 3 with no response. I've had 1 commissioner give a response that he would be interested, and that would be Commissioner DeRosa. So I would like to see the commission take a vote on Commissioner DeRosa take over as vice chair effective September 25th.
I'll make a motion. I know you told me to be quiet, but I'm still
I
here
tried.
until the end. So I will make a motion for Commissioner DeRosa to take the position of vice chair.
Any discussion? Not hearing any. Motion to have Commissioner DeRosa as the vice chair effective September 26th. All those, that's what I said, this 5th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, AJ.
Thank you. You've made some big shoes to fill, so.
Yeah, well, we'll have a chat after the meeting about it. That's all I have for new business. Anybody else? Okay, not seeing any. Commissioners' reports. Any commissioner that would like to report on the recent activities as it relates to Fish and Game Commission duties and responsibilities? As an informational item only. Any commissioners have reports? Commissioner Stoll?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, you got it, Lauren.
I attended a meeting of the Connecticut Lakes Citizens Meeting in Pittsburgh last week. The director was also there. It was a highly contentious meeting.
Brown fishing game.
I think Colbert might have been there. It dealt with ATVs on the track up there. Back 21 or 2 years ago, back when I was a state representative, I was a co-sponsor of that bill that helped set up that track that we have up there. The state of New Hampshire came up with over $12 million to buy the rights for the public to continuously use that track up there as they have in the past. This committee was set up to help advise DRED on how that should be managed. Businesses up there, ATVs were never allowed on that track when the original purpose was made of the easement. The snowmobiles were only on the trails where the raw was there. ATVs got into the mix a few years later on a very limited basis, very limited time. It was going to stop, their use was to stop on September 30th. Come October 1, which is drought season, and a whole bunch of other seasons would be going on at that time, bear season, deer season. The warden force has been busy enough enforcing fish and game laws without having to deal with ATVs on that track. And so it has stopped on September 30th for years. They tried to have it extended to the end of Columbus Day weekend for another 2 weeks. And the businesses were really pushing pretty hard on that. The committee ended up voting 6-3 to oppose that, which is now a recommendation to the Commissioner of DRED to not allow it to extend. At this point, I asked the director a while ago, he has not heard about one way or the other how that commissioner is going to respond to that. Hopefully, they will go along with us and not allow it. I want to make sure that it's pretty hot topic up there.
I believe it was last month we took a vote to support the proposed with that.
The commission voted unanimously to oppose the
Anybody else?
I attended a webinar put on by MITA Corporation and NOAA, and it was to update the status of ropeless fishing with some of the fishing fisheries, like lobster fishing, gillnet fishing, longline fishing. And the purpose of this ropeless is to eliminate vertical lines in the water to reduce the risk of entanglement with whales and other marine mammals. So far, some of the key takeaways from some of the studies been done. The limited number of vessels that have participated in this study have found an 83% success rate in haulbacks, but there was some concern that the 17% of unsuccessful hauls could eventually lead to ghost gear. Couple other things, this has not yet been demonstrated in high density gear areas. So that's another concern how that's going to be worked out. And it's unknown what the effects of these acoustic signals being given would have on marine life. It's a long way to go, and there's a lot more taxpayer dollars going to be spent on this whole thing before they're able to perfect this. So that's all I have on that.
Any other commissioner? Okay, none hearing none, director's report.
Well, as Joyce has been told, I've been held over until October 31st. I have taken a few days off this month to try to get caught up on some of the hay on the farm. We finally had some weather that we could actually make dry hay, which for those of you that don't live in Coos, we have had a lot of rain this summer. I think it's actually been worse than what last summer was. We've withdrawn the proposed trout rule rule changes that we were making, and we'll continue to work with all of our constituencies to match our rule proposal with current management practices, science, and social needs of the constituency. As Eric Stoll said, I was up in Pittsburgh at a Connecticut Headwaters Citizens Advisory Committee meeting dealing with a proposal on ATVs. This is to lengthen the season from September 30th to October, Columbus Day roughly, but so give them the next 2 weeks in October. As you remember, the commission voted no. Connecticut Headwaters Committee voted no, 6-3. I have been told this morning that Representative Ouellette, a representative from Colbrook, has dropped in a bill to extend the season of ATVs on the Connecticut Headwaters to Columbus Day. We'll have to wait and see how that works out. The Funding Study Committee, as I think everybody here knows, met last month. Commissioner Green came and spoke on behalf of the commission, did a really good job, I'll say. And following that meeting, Kevin was interviewed by Channel 9. There were several newspaper articles about the issue. What my staff has told me, this is the first time that we've actually gotten any kind of traction in the press about our attempt to try to get general funding. You may have noticed in today's Union Leader and In-Depth, I gave you a copy of the In-Depth article. There was a meeting yesterday for tourism and restaurants and lodging industry, and they asked both candidates for governor what they were thinking, and they both showed support for trying to find funding for Fish and Game. The next meeting in the study committee will be on the 19th, and if I have it right, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Spinif, AMC, and Nature Conservancy will be testifying. Also, to make the commission aware, New Hampshire will be hosting the AFWA annual meeting next fall in 25. We'll be at the Mount Washington. Also want to make the commission aware that we've had some troubles with the fixing of the roof. They've changed what they want to do. If I'm remembering correctly, the insulation under the roof no longer meets code. That was not factored into their bid that Public Works did for us. Therefore, the money we have in the capital budget will not fix the roof and bring the insulation up to code. So we will be working with Department of Public Works and the capital budget to see what we can do about that. So right now, that project's on hold. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions of the director on the meeting? Not seeing any. Calls to the public. Anybody from the public like to make it? Any comments to that commission? Sir, if you just state your name and where you're from, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rob Wolfchuk, Brentwood, New Hampshire, and Rockingham County. I'm also a member of the board of the Three Rivers Stocking Group, which operates in Rockingham and Stratford counties. And we were very disappointed to hear of Commissioner Hodgson's resignation, and we wanted to thank her and appreciate all the time and effort you've done for Rockingham and for the local fishermen and others in our area. So thank you. Then just to comment on a couple of the points made by the executive director, thank you again for postponing the fishing regulation changes and the commissioners for their support. I love the idea to hear you say that you're looking forward to working with the different constituencies, and I think it's important, and hopefully, some sort of working group or users group may be created where different groups can get together, because there's a lot of differences, obviously, between the seacoast where we are, up north, the Connecticut River Valley in the middle here. So that would be great. And then lastly, with the financial situation of the department, I think the different groups that use these resources can be very effective with our politicians and outreach. And I think if there's a way to communicate that information or the meetings and how we can be helpful, I think we could put out that information to our users and help with the problems and work together to fix the challenges that you have, because we're all the beneficiaries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Dave Poole, I live in Rumney. Is it be okay if I ask Commissioner Stoll a question?
Give it a try.
All right. So you went through a series of FIS changes.
Yeah.
My question is, I've been caught twice now by readoption that actually included rule changes. So when these are readopted, that line of FISs that you went through, did any of them, other than the black bass, you mentioned black bass changed a season, I believe. Did any of those change a season or a bag limit?
All the rest of them were readopted as it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Anybody else? Sir?
Larry Davis, Rochester. I had a question about the Powder Mill Fish Hatchery. What was Powder Mill Fish Hatchery in New Durham? What's going on with that? Is it gonna get replaced, or what's the scoop on that?
I do not know the full answers to that.
We could meet after the meeting, I could have Diane talk to him after the meeting.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same. If you have any questions, why don't you ask, Diane, go ahead. Yep. After the meeting. Anybody else? Okay. You'll have to go quicker, Linda. You're almost gonna make it.
Linda Dion from.
Come up from where we can hear you.
Linda Dion from Raymond. I was gonna commend you for your coaching, but you're picking on me, so, you know. I think you did a great job, okay, with the coaching issue. Thank you.
Linda, if he picks on you, he really likes you.
Oh. That's you, yeah. And I just want to say something about Megan, you know, leaving. We're sorry to see her leave, of course. But I'm also happy to see that AJ is gonna take her job. That's a good choice. I hope everybody saw John Levitus's letter and Bob Allen's letters. We saw those letters.
Linda, you're talking to us.
Yeah, I'm just hoping everybody saw those letters.
Letter on what?
John Levitus wrote about how the department does need funding, but how not the majority of people in New Hampshire are represented. We're not represented on this commission because you have to have a fishing or hunting license. So that needs to change. And it
Okay,
should
Linda,
change.
this isn't about, you know, we went through this a month ago with you. We have nothing to do with who gets on this commission.
Okay, but you could support a bill and you never have. You've never supported one of our bills.
No.
So that's that. And you know, since you did such a great job with poaching, I would like to recommend your next issue be pheasant stalking. I know you had a meeting one time and you talked about maybe ending pheasant stalking. You need to get on that very fast. You know, it's gonna start October 1st, and these guys and gals are already buying their licenses for next year's pheasant. So you have to be proactive to stop that. And that's another way too, where the department could save some money. I know that the hunters pay for the birds, but they do not pay for all the overhead costs. They do not pay for Dan Bergeron to go out and stalk pheasants. He's on payroll when he does that, he could be doing something important instead of
I'm
stalking
glad you
pheasants.
actually brought that up, Linda, because I do remember bringing that up.
I know,
And
I did.
let me finish.
Okay.
I let it in my head that I wanted to bring up a current standing on that. So I'll probably be asking that question next month.
Okay, great. And I guess that's it.
How many more you got?
I just think this meeting was very nice. It really was a nice meeting.
Okay.
And I would be positive. You made me get negative.
I'm not.
Okay, well, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, can I get a motion, to end this meeting?
Second.
Okay. Linda, also on the turkeys, where that really involved North Country, that should get what commission told. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? We're done.
Thank you.